Greetings, I am the wrestling fan. I may not be the best wrestling fan, but I am the finest. And I am proud to once again do another rendition of The Wrestling Fan Shoots On. Alright, now as much as I love my new set, it doesn't really seem to fit when it comes to the shoots on, does it? So, let's get something a little more appropriate. Better. Alright. Now since I am back, and better than ever, I decided for my first shoots on for the new series of me to be about a guy who really changed the wrestling world. And I'm a little nervous to do this because it's probably going to piss off a lot of people, but I think a lot of you are going to agree with everything I have to say. So go ahead and show exactly who I'm shooting all over. Oh yeah, I'm bringing out the big guns. So, let me go ahead and say this. I have nothing but respect for Vincent Kennedy McMahon, okay? I love the guy, and I don't know him, and everything I talk about is pure fan speculation. That's all it is. And I'm not trying to bitch, but I have issues. That's the whole point with the shoots on. In case any of you have never watched me before, the whole point of the shoots ons is for me to talk about current wrestling, whatever's pissing me off, and kind of give a voice to a lot of you who may not be able to do something like this. So, with that in mind, again, nothing but respect for the man. He completely made professional wrestling mainstream, for God's sakes. Who would have thought that was possible in the early 80s? I mean, AWA never would have made it mainstream. NWA wouldn't have. In the territories, none of them would have popped to make it mainstream. And people say, like, well, Vince ruined the business. He ruined the pro wrestling business. Not really, because there's still a shitload of independents, organizations out there. It's still going strong. And they're just now a feeder company to WWE, but at least there is a huge company to go to, like the World Wrestling Entertainment. I mean, that's the be-all, end-all still. It may not be the best when it comes to pro wrestling, and I'll get to that, but Vince, I think he did a good thing. Yeah, he ruined a lot of people's lives by taking over their territories, or just destroying them completely, but it was a war, and he won. I mean, do we talk shit about our soldiers when they go over to the country? That's a bad example. But you get the gist, okay? Now, I know for a fact, as everyone does, that Vince is a phenomenal businessman. And I know he loves professional wrestling, and he does understand it to a degree, or at least he did. But he always had smart wrestling people with him, like Pat Patterson, or Jerry Briscoe, or even Triple H, to kind of guide him along, because even though it's sports entertainment, which some people hate, and I do at times too, you have to still have the pro wrestling aspect to make it work. And Vince knew that in the 80s. Even though he was, basically kind of doing like a children's product, in a sense, it's nowhere near as PG as nowadays. Not even close. It was pretty hardcore in the 80s. It was ECW compared to what it is now. And that is just a sad fact. But the wrestling was still there. The in-ring product maybe wasn't always great, but the characters, the rivalries, the storytelling, everything was still okay, and a lot of the time was awesome. And then the 90s came, and Vince got into some trouble. He was obviously way behind the times for the first time in 10 years. And it took him a while, but finally he changed with the times. And the Attitude Era came. And he built a bunch of brand new stars. Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, Triple H, Mick Foley with his characters. Undertaker was, changed in a way. Kane, all the tag teams, even the wrestlers like Val Venus, D'Lo Brown, people remember them. The 2000s, the Ruthless Aggression era, was still really awesome. It had its ups and downs, but Vince was still understanding pro wrestling. The whole point of me talking about that and saying all that is because I really think Vince McMahon is so behind when it comes to what professional wrestling has become. He needs to step down, at least from the professional wrestling part. And I know it's so easy just to shit all over Vince McMahon for the failures of his company. I'm sorry, but think about it. NXT is dominating the world. It's like one of the best wrestling products in the world, and it's probably the best wrestling product in the United States. I know Ring of Honor is awesome, but there's just something about NXT. It feels like counterculture, even though it's under the WWE banner. It's real weird. They basically turned NXT into their own version of Ring of Honor. But the wrestling is awesome, the stories are simple, but awesome. The characters are awesome. Even the bad ones are still really, really good. Like Bull Dempsey and the Bullfit thing. That's entertaining as hell. And Triple H is 100% in charge of that. It's obvious. He still gets pro wrestling. He's a fan of pro wrestling first. Vince McMahon is a fan of sports entertainment first. And for the first time in his 40-some years in the business, I think he is light years behind when it comes to understanding professional wrestling. I'm not saying I understand it better than him. I'm just saying it is obvious. With his product, he doesn't get it. And he doesn't understand. They have all this talent with the new NXT people coming in or a lot of other stuff. If they fail like one time, he's like, whoa, they're not John Cena. God damn it. So he has this obsession with John Cena. And I have nothing against John Cena. I like the guy. But honestly, it feels like with Vince, if you're not John Cena, he's not going to waste his fucking time on you. It's not worth it. They have all this talent. I'm shocked that Seth Rollins has been the champion as long as he has. Like, he has this boner constantly for John Cena or The Rock or Brock Lesnar, which I have nothing against any of those guys. But here's the thing, Vinnie Mac. In the Attitude Era, you didn't start bringing back a bunch of old wrestling stars. You built. You made from the crops that you had. Okay? You made food from the crops that you had, if that makes any sense. You didn't go back to crops that you grew 10 years prior. You keep relying on part-time people, and they're huge stars, and they bring in ratings, they bring in money, but you need to build with what you have. And you have more talent than you've had in 10 years. But you keep relying on Cena, Orton. I can't really think of anybody else. It's like he has such a hard-on for these guys, and you have this plethora of talent in front of you, and you're not doing shit with it. Yeah, you're kind of pushing some people. You had this diamond in Kevin Owens, and you were building him perfectly, or Triple H was, and then you got your fangs in it, and you fucked him over. You fucked over Bray Wyatt, too. You even fucked over Rusev. Everyone was fed to John Cena. I still can't believe that Kevin Owens got a clean win over John Cena. That still shocks me. Vince must have been on vacation, or he doesn't take vacations. He must have been in a coma for that to happen. But of course, Cena won the two after, so Vince was there for that because he's there just going, oh, John Cena, AA, God damn it. Okay. Sorry, I know that's annoying, but Vince no longer understands professional wrestling. Triple H does, at least to the point to where the company needs him to be in charge of all the wrestling. Raw, SmackDown, NXT, they need Triple H. He may not be perfect. I know people dislike him, but if NXT shows us anything, I mean, NXT has been better than Raw and SmackDown for a year, maybe more. And here's the thing. You have to realize that even though I'm sure Vince loves NXT, he hates it even more. A lot of you will probably disagree with me on that, but honestly, think about it. He didn't create NXT, and NXT is now the most praised part of WWE. Okay? And he had nothing to do with it. I mean, he funded it. He produces it. But that's got to kill him. Because he wants control over everything, and he wants credit for everything. At least that's how it seems. And he's not going to get it for NXT. People know it's Triple H. That has to kill him. And I'm not saying that he's too old for wrestling. It has nothing to do with his age. has to do with his mind. He doesn't understand professional wrestling anymore. In the last 10 years, the independents and New Japan have completely reinvented what professional wrestling is, what the quality of matches can be. And the talent now, the talent pool is deeper than it's ever been. Not just in WWE, but on the independents. In Ring of Honor, in Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, in New Japan Pro Wrestling, even other little organizations all around the country, all around the world. It's such a deep pool, but Vince doesn't want to give them a chance. He doesn't. He gets his heart on for a guy like Roman Reigns who can't fucking talk, who's good in the ring, and he has improved, but once Vince sees, like, he's gonna be the next guy. Okay, I hate to bring him up, but CM Punk, okay? You didn't see him as the next guy, and he was the next guy, and you completely fucked him over. And CM Punk is my favorite. I'm not saying I agree with everything he said about WWE. I wasn't there. But it's obvious they held CM Punk back even when he was white hot in the summer of 2011, the summer of Punk. They ruined that. Vince and Triple H, because they didn't like him and they didn't see him as the main guy of the company. And that's bullshit. Same with Daniel Bryan. It's obvious they held him back, and he only got the chances he got because people left or people would come back like Batista. Like, Vince, really? The 30th anniversary of WrestleMania. You think Randy Orton, Batista? Like, anyone's gonna give a shit? I'm fans of both guys. Really? Even Batista knew that when he came back, he was gonna get booed. But you were like, no, they're gonna love you. You haven't been here for 4 years. God damn it. Come on, Dave. Give me a break. The fans don't want that. I love Batista. I like Randy Orton. But that was going to be the biggest main event of all time? What are you smoking in your spare time? You're that far behind the times. And thank God you added Daniel Bryan. Think about it. WrestleMania 30, what would it have been without Daniel Bryan? Even Daniel Bryan said that in his book. And he's right. It would have been a disaster without Daniel Bryan. It wouldn't have been good at all. But because of Daniel Bryan's matches, people were praising it. You just keep, all you seem to care about is just John Cena. And Punk said that. And I'll agree with him just because that's how it seems. Vince, you need to stop relying on one guy. He's in his late 30s. He could probably go another 10 years because he's John Cena. He's Superman. But stop it. The gimmick is old. The Superman gimmick, you just get off on it. And I don't know why. Like, you see yourself in John Cena and he's always got to win. He can't lose. And the audiences, even the kids are tired of it. Okay? The women are tired of it too. You have all this talent. You could have easily pushed Kevin Owens to the moon. I'm glad you pushed Seth Rollins, but you've also fucked up his title reign because it's boring a lot of the time. I mean, come on. At SummerSlam, you couldn't even have your WWE champion beat John Cena clean. You had to have the former host of The Daily Show, Jon Stewart, who I love, by the way, but have him cost Cena the match? Really? That's great booking. Good job, Vince. Good job. That's fantastic. You're an idiot. And that might not have been Vince's idea. I know. I'm being an asshole. But Vince has final say on everything. So he has to approve all this, which means he loved it. And you're going to have Cena lose the U.S. title to Seth Rollins, only for Rollins to lose it back the month after? What was the point? And the whole point of Cena having the U.S. title was for him to build it up. And he did. He built it up and built it up. So when he finally lost at Night of Champions to Alberto Del Rio, which also was not the right choice, it didn't mean anything because you disrupted the title reign. It would have meant much more for Del Rio to beat him if Cena would have been undefeated for that title since WrestleMania. Now, it's great that Rollins was the first ever double champion with the US and WWE title, but it also made the US title mean nothing again. And the whole point of Cena having that title and building it up was so that he could lose it to a newer talent, like a Kevin Owens, like a Tyler Breeze, like a Samoa Joe. But no, he's John Cena. No, he's got to win every single match. God, man. Come on. And your audience has changed. This PG bullshit. Just go to PG-13. Please. You don't have to do blood. Just go to PG-13. For God's sakes. That's all you have to do. The audience has transformed to guys my age or even younger and even women my age and younger who want to see professional wrestling. And that's why NXT is doing so well. Okay? You need to take what's going right in NXT and put it into Raw and SmackDown. And that may make NXT not seem as special. Take the risk, okay? Because you need it badly. And here's the thing. Last Monday on Raw, it was the best Raw in months. And not shitting on John Cena, but he wasn't there. So there was no attention on him. The attention can go to other people who need it. And I'm sure Vince wasn't even there like, well, Cena's not here, so it's not even going to be a good show. You know, it's just... But Vince, I'm sorry. I love you very much. And you made my childhood awesome. And a lot of times you've made my adulthood awesome. But it's obvious that you either need to finally change with the times or step aside. But you won't step aside. Why can't you just take care of the business aspects? You can still be there every week for Raw and SmackDown. But I don't think you have the proper respect for NXT because it wasn't your baby. It wasn't your creation, so you're jealous of it because it's getting all this praise. You've ruined the Divas Revolution. That never even started. You're fucking over those women who are so talented. And you keep Nikki as champion even though she's not that good. And the crowd doesn't want her as champion. She's not getting heat from the crowd because she's such a good heel. It's because we don't want to see her. We want to see Sasha Banks, Charlotte, Bayley. You know, I mean, even, what's her name? Alicia Fox. She's wasted in whatever the hell, Team Bella or whatever. Ugh. It just... And that's got to be Vince. He doesn't get women's wrestling either, and how great it can be. Even after the 2 NXT classics between Sasha Banks and Bayley, I don't think he gets it. He doesn't get it. And he doesn't want to give the audience what he wants because he doesn't ever want to be wrong. And you were wrong about Daniel Bryan, and you were pushed to the point where you had to put him in those matches when he should have already been there in the first place. It's just amazing to me that a man who is so smart, much smarter than me, can be so behind you when it comes to pro wrestling. You don't get it anymore, man. You don't get it at all. And you probably get pissed at the fans think they can book this better than you. We probably could. Because you're not listening to your fans. And that's why he wants to stay PG and wants to keep kid fans, because they don't talk back. They're just happy with whatever's out there. They're there just to have a good time, which is great. That's fine. I look forward to taking my kids to wrestling events, whether they want to go or not. Too bad, we're going. But I'm sure they'll have a good time. But I'm a pro wrestling fan. I am the wrestling fan for a reason. I love it. And WWE can still be sports entertainment while celebrating the professional wrestling aspect of it. But it's not going to happen under Vince's reign. And it's sad. Honestly, it makes me sad that he is just failing when it comes to this. You wonder why your ratings are down? Because you're not creating any new stars. What's the point of us and these stupid storylines that don't go anywhere? They're a waste of time. You have to have good writers, which you don't. And even if you do, you probably nix all of their damn ideas and just put in your own. I mean, seriously, man. It's really not that hard. And not everything is going to be perfect. But you really need to take a good look at the WWE and wonder why the ratings are so low. I mean, here's the thing, folks. No matter what, WWE is not going anywhere. They're not going to go out of business. They're not going to go bankrupt. But stop coasting just because you're WWE. That's what you're doing. Stop it. It's not because of lack of competition. You've just gotten lazy. It's time for a change, to quote the late, great Owen Hart. Because I love WWE. I really do. And this wasn't just a shit all over WWE and Vince McMahon. I am just saying what I feel a lot of fans are saying and what a lot of fans speculate. Because that's how we feel. And we're tired of it. You're not always going to give us what we want. But what we want would be best for business, ironically. You have all this talent, and you can still praise the guys that have been there for years, but we're tired of them, okay? Sick of it. I have seen enough. I'm glad he's gone for a while to get a rest so he can come back, and I'm not a John Cena hater. I love the guy, okay? I think he's a lot better than what most men my age think he is, but it's obvious that Vince just completely is obsessed with the guy and doesn't want to talk about anybody else, all this other talent. And there's probably a lot more I could say, but I'll stop there because it'll just get repetitive. It probably already has. I love Vince to death, but Vince, honestly, fucking change. Seriously. It's not going to take much. Either step aside or you need to get with it. Because it's pissing me off, and it's pissing off a lot of other people who do love WWE. Because it could be so much better than what it is. Stop being lazy, okay? Just knock it off. It doesn't suit you, and you are killing your product. You're not going to completely kill it, but you are killing it, and you need to realize that sometimes, Vinnie Mac, you're wrong, okay? You're wrong. And you've been wrong a lot over the past few years. And it's costing your company a lot of money, it's costing them ratings, and it's costing them fans. I feel better. I've been holding that in ever since I caught up on all the wrestling I've missed. And honestly, I think I've been holding that in even before my sabbatical. So, that was a Shoots On. Like I said, I'm sure there's more I could say, but I made my point. Vince, I love you, and I love the WWE, but it could be so much better than what it is. So, make it better. It's that simple. I am The Wrestling Fan, and I'll see you next time on another rendition of The Wrestling Fan. Shoots On.